There's an old joke. Two elderly women are at a Catskill Mountain resort, and one of them says, "Boy, the food at this place is really terrible." The other one says, "Yeah, I know, and such small portions." Well, that's essentially how I feel about life. Full of loneliness and misery and suffering and unhappiness, and it's all over much too quickly. The other important joke for me is one that's usually attributed to Groucho Marx, but I think it appears originally in Freud's Wit and its Relation to the Unconscious. And it goes like this, I'm paraphrasing. I would never want to belong to any club that would have someone like me for a member. That's the key joke of my adult life in terms of my relationships with women.
Annie Hall, in my opinion, is Lord Woody Allen's best film. After he co-wrote and directed this masterpiece in 1977, it became an instant success, both critically and commercially, picking up the Best Director Oscar for Allen. It also won the Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay Oscar, and the Best Actress Oscar for the wonderful debutante Diane Keaton. So the story goes like this. Alvy Singer is a stand-up comic played by Allen. He's obsessed with death, divorced twice, and smarter than most Hollywood romantic heroes.
I don't know why they would have me at this kind of rally, because, excuse me, I'm not essentially a political comedian at all. I, interestingly, had dated a woman in the Eisenhower administration briefly, and it was ironic to me because I was trying to do to her what Eisenhower's been doing to the country for the last 8 years.
He cannot get his mind around what went wrong in his relationship with the title character Annie Hall, played by Keaton, who is pretty, smart, and younger, with affection towards Alvy that gradually fades into exasperation. So the usual thing happens. They both meet, fall in love, break up. And there are moments when the audience thinks that they might get together like most romantic movies. But Annie Hall is different. She moves forward in life, and Alvy and Annie do not get together in the end. This is perhaps the shortest, most vague, and the most unembellished plot summary of the greatest romantic comedy of all time, Annie Hall. This video assumes that you have watched the film and read its screenplay. It is going to talk about the themes in Allen's film and will conclude what the film is trying to tell the audience. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon for regular updates. Theme 1. The Absurdity and Necessity of Love. The script of the film chronicles Alvy Singer's attempts to get around what went wrong in his relationship with the title character Annie Hall. The film opens with a monologue by Alvy as he tells us how he feels about life and his relationship with women. After jumping backward and forward in time through Alvy and Annie's life, the film comes to a close with their last moments together as the characters embrace and say goodbye. Annie crosses the street and Alvy watches her go. After this, only his voiceover is heard with visuals of their moments together.
You know, this guy goes to a psychiatrist and says, "Doc, my brother's crazy. He thinks he's a chicken." And the doctor says, "Well, why don't you turn him in?" And the guy says, "I would, but I need the eggs." Well, I guess that's pretty much now how I feel about relationships. You know, they're totally irrational and crazy and absurd, but I guess we keep going through it because most of us need the eggs.
The film ends with Alvy resigned to the idea that relationships are absurd but people need them. The ending splits the audience mind. The part of the mind fed by visual senses has the experience of a physical present in which love does not exist and Alvy and Annie are gone. But the part fed by the mind's eye of memories has the experience of a love that did exist and might exist again. All this creates a sense of romantic longing in the viewer's mind. Although love is absurd, it is also necessary. Through the film, Alvy ponders about the key to happiness in a relationship. He even asks random pedestrians about it. The answers are unsatisfactory and make a case on the absurdity of love. The film ends by celebrating romance between Alvy and Annie, though failed, adding weight to Alvy's final monologue about the necessity for love. Annie Hall's ending simultaneously relishes and dismisses relationships. The audience knows it's crazy to keep looking for love, and even though Alvy makes jokes about it, we believe that somewhere out there is the person who will make us feel full. Theme 2. The transformative nature of art. Throughout the film, Alvy emphasizes the capacity of art to transform life into a more ideal version of reality. Narrative control allows him to visit the past, imagine an animated version of the situation, allow geographically separate scenes to interact. And also, Alvy writes his first play during the end of the film, in which his characters, Alvy and Annie, make up, because in his words,
you're always trying to get things to come out perfect in art because it's real difficult in life.
Conclusion. Annie Hall carries a tinge of regret as though the narrator attempts to improve upon life. At its core, Annie Hall is a film that disappoints. It promises a comedy and delivers a tragedy. It fills your head and heart with laughter and joy, only to take it all away in the end. Just like life, as Alvy might put it. It does so because the film regards comedy as something more profound than an escape from reality. The reason that most of us do not want our money back is that it breaks the conventional stereotypes of romantic comedies, and most importantly, heroines in rom-coms. It does not offer the happy ending that we thought we wanted. Instead, we find something more affirming in Annie Hall. We discover a deeper fact about our lives, that the most profound sense of meaning comes not from happiness, but from desire. Our hearts work the hardest and our souls burn the brightest, not when we get the thing that we want, but when we are chasing it. And Annie Hall gives us that endless and burning sense of longing.